Hey, speaking of Zorky, let's take a break and do the news. Have you guys ever been here for one of our news segments? Is this going to be the first one? Are you as excited about it as I am? Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the news. Our top story today is Superships. You guys may remember we did a Supership test a while ago with the Hannover and Satsuma. What people were joking were, what do we call these? Tier 11 ships. They were absurd. They were what-if ships. They were what would happen if World War II style big battleship development continued. And we made just bigger and bigger and bigger battleships. We know that in history, what really happened was aircraft carriers took over. People demonstrated with aircraft carriers, both in tests and in combat, see Bismarck, that air power was better, more cheaper, more effective than battleship power. And so what happened was those big battleships didn't happen. But World of Warships says, let's imagine a world in which big guns, the old guard, were right. And battleships just got bigger and badder and better. And Yamato. Odysseus brings up the Yamato sinking as well. Absolutely. That is another fantastic reference. And they have said, you know what? Those were so damn popular. Those were so cool. We are going to do it again. So check this out. Superships are coming. In the update of 10.10, now you guys might know that our current version, what's our current version? 10.8. And our next update, which comes in about 6 weeks, is 10.9. And you guys couldn't see me do that. I just checked the version number. It's 10.8. The next update, usually they're about 6 or 8 weeks apart, is going to be 10.9. And then this is coming in 10.10. Is 10.9 actually tomorrow? I thought we just got 10.8. Okay, I was wrong. Scada, oh my gosh. So I was just going to say, look at how fast this is coming. But Scott is right. It's actually coming slightly faster. Holy smokes. So if tomorrow is 10.9, I'm going to go with Scada on this one. Hot dog. Yeah, so they would have installed the updates, and then tomorrow they're going live. Is that what's happening, Scada? I gotcha. Anyhow, we're going to wind up with Superships very soon, and it's not just going to be Satsuma and Hannover. Let's talk about this real quick. I'm going to summarize and kind of read through some of this, and I know that, again, sometimes you guys are like, come on, I could go read the blog myself, but first of all, I want to say that everybody loves being read to. It's wonderful. If you've ever had somebody read you a story as an adult, it is just as rad as it was when you were a kid, and hopefully will be interested in this information. In update 10.5, super battleships appeared in World of Warships. They did this grand battle mode. I'm going to summarize here a little bit. The outcome of grand battle showed that tier 9 and tier 10 ships were able to capably stand up to the superships, and the newcomers themselves were also warmly received by our players. We often get questions about when superships will appear in the game again, and we are happy to announce that in 10.10, they will be available to be used in ranked battles. This is crazy to me. First of all, ranked is the wrong place to introduce them. I'm sorry, you're going to get a little commentary from Clyde here. Ranked is not really where they should be putting nonsense mechanics. Ranked is a competitive mode where players should be able to count on and understand what is going to be in that mode and should be able to use those skills to determine who is better at the game. It's not a place to test your stuff. Wargaming, please do it elsewhere. That said, they're coming to ranked battles, so get used to the idea. The upcoming season of ranked battles will play in a 7v7 format with tier 10 ships and with superships. The season will take place without submarines, and for the matchmaker, there will be a standard class restrictions. Superships will be mirrored by the matchmaker. So, in 10.10, in addition to Satsuma and Hannover, there will be 4 more superships with their own unique features. The Japanese super destroyer Yamagiri. The super destroyer has a unique mechanic where it can switch between 2 different types of torpedoes. Kind of like how we switch between AP and HE shells, you'll have 2 different types of torpedoes. They will vary with parameters like range, speed, and damage. So this will be very interesting. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do there, but range, speed, and damage, if they manipulate those numbers and give you a couple of different options as a torpedo machine, that could be really, really cool. Oh, that's hilarious, Admiral. Maybe we'll do that. The following superships will introduce a new auto-loader mechanic, which means after pressing a key, the player can switch to a special firing mode where separate turrets can fire several consecutive salvos in rapid succession before being subjected to a long reload. Those of you guys who have joined us from World of Tanks, you know all about this. It is a thing that happens on some of your tanks where essentially in tanks, you load in like a magazine of shells and then it can go doo, 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 doo. But then you've got like a 20-second reload or something, right? So reload for 20 seconds, and then you got to do it again. It's a really great way to get killed in a light tank that has this. In warships, that makes less sense to me. I don't know. And Scott and I were talking about this at lunch. I don't know that there's like a magazine of gigantic 200 millimeter shells that a guy can slip into a gun and then go, you know. But hey, who cares? These are super battleships. They represent the future of technology that wasn't, and allow us to imagine it. What if it was? So this is going to happen with the French supercruiser Conde, or Conde, I'm not sure how that would be pronounced perfectly, the American supercruiser Annapolis, and the Soviet supercruiser Zorky. Zorky has the funnest name of any of these ships, or excuse me, Soviet super destroyer Zorky. Annapolis is a great name, at least from America's perspective, because Annapolis is where the Naval Academy is. So that's a great name for a ship in World of Warships. I think that's fun, especially an imaginary one like this, provided there isn't an actual Annapolis that we should be making instead. So this is going to be 2 cruisers and a destroyer. Hannover and Satsuma will have updated adjustment fire mechanic. Now, if you filled the adjustment fire bar, you just have to press a special key to activate the bonus, blah, blah, blah. Over the last couple of years, this is actually the interesting part of this article, guys, and we're going to take a little minute to talk about it because this is a big, big change to World of Warships. This news right here is legitimate news, and I hope it's something that you guys think is interesting, or at least you have an opinion on, because this is going to change the game literally forever. Over the last few years, gameplay development for World of Warships was focused on horizontal progression, adding new mechanics, branches, or ships with unique peculiarities, such as the hybrids. This framework was conceived many years ago and can only accommodate so many new concepts. Along with Superships, we aim to add new mechanics to the game and give new gameplay experience beyond the usual progression. Okay? These new mechanics are aimed at diversifying decision-making during combat and game tactics. So diversifying decision-making during combat and game tactics, that in general is a good thing for games. We want to have diverse gameplay. We want you to choose this instead of that, or this instead of that, or that, right? We want choices that make gameplay dynamic as gamers, and it sounds like this is a method that Wargaming is trying to bring this to us. I guess we'll have to see how it goes. We decided that superships and their mechanics, given the interest in them, may well become a full-fledged part of the game. We want to introduce something for all existing branches of ships. These are big things. They just said we're going to do super ships for the game. They said may well, which means maybe, but maybe we're going to have super ships at the top of every tech line in the ship, every branch in the game, by making a continuation for them in the form of superships. Given the very essence of superships as a development of already familiar ships, we think that it would be most appropriate to place them in the tech tree as a continuation of their respective branches. Remember when we were all joking that this was tier 11? Do you remember that? Oh, Hannover's a tier 11 mega battleship. That's ridiculous. Why don't you just put it in the game as tier 11? We said these things out loud to our friends while eating tacos at lunch or whatever. And now it's actually happening. This is not the kind of thing that we normally say. Scotta. I, for one, look forward to the Dutch superships. It may well be as good as the tier 9s. That is funny. Let's see. As a continuation of their branches, the expansion of the tech tree, or actually, hang on, let me drop back. Given the very essence of the superships' developments, a continuation of their respective branches, in addition to the logic of this continuation, we also believe that because the superiority of superships in terms of technical characteristics over their predecessors, superships do not fit into tier 10. So what they're saying is these aren't an additional tier 10 ship. These are a ship beyond tier 10. The expansion of the tech tree will greatly increase the variability of battles and introduce completely new mechanics to the game. This part is really interesting to me. In addition, some of these mechanics may be added to lower tier ships in the future. Right now, tier 10 is the most popular tier among players, and its popularity is only going to grow. Therefore, we want to continue to give players a variety in gameplay and with various new mechanics. So this is crazy. We're going to add tier 11 or whatever, or Supership tier, or like Nebula tier, whatever we want to call that. And we're going to do it for every tech line, and we are going to maybe do some crazy stuff up there. And we're going to maybe take that crazy stuff and integrate it into ships that are lower tiers if we kind of like the ideas that are happening up there. We want to make obtaining superships simple and clear and accessible to all who wish to use them and not harm those who reset branches in the Research Bureau. Therefore, you'll only need 1 experience point to research a supership after researching a tier 10 ship. The credits cost of buying a supership will be about 1.5 to 2.5 times the cost of buying a tier 10 ship. Therefore, players will not need much on a tier 10 ship, or not need to play much on a tier 10 ship in order to be able to explore superships, but will still need to invest credits. So as an example, I'm going to go grab a tier 9 cruiser or a tier 10 ship that I don't have. Let's find a cruiser. You guys can't see my screen right now, but just bear with me. For example, I don't have the Delny. Let's see. It costs 17 million credits with my clan discount. So if we assume, and Scott, I had a good theory on this. Scott, I'm stealing some of your ideas from today because you had good ones. He said the superships will cost 1.5 to 2.5 times the cost of a tier 10 ship. So say destroyers cost 1.5 times, cruisers cost 2 times, and battleships cost 2.5 times. If a cruiser costs about 17 million credits, 2 times that is 34 million credits. If it's 17, 18 million for a battleship, it's something like 40 million credits, right? So stuff like that is kind of interesting when we think about that. Let's keep going with this. Therefore, players will not need to play much on the tier 10 to get it, but you will need to spend credits. So this is going to be a thing that's available to anyone who's unlocked a tier 10 ship, provided those players also have a stack of credits, right? You're going to have to spend some credits. The expansion of the tech tree is a big and important step for the game, and based on our previous experience, we do not plan to immediately add superships for all nations and in random battles. Instead, we'll start in ranked battles, and we'll decide on further steps and implementation of superships as we go along. So essentially, right, we're going to try a few, we're going to see how it goes, we're going to put them in a controlled area of the game. I think ranked is kind of a poor choice for that, but I understand why they're choosing it. Just based on its popularity and the fact that it's an optional mode, and random is kind of what we assume is the base mode, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, Odysseus, I don't think you're too far off from that. Captain Char says Montana is not a paper ship. Montana is a paper ship because we never built it. It was a design. Now, it's not a fake paper ship. It's a real paper ship, if that makes sense. So Montana was never actually constructed, which means we drew it on paper. That's why we call those a paper ship. But it's not like the Kremlin, which is a totally imaginary paper ship. So I always think of like 2 classes of paper ships. Yeah, Captain Char's on board, I think. Yeah, there you go. Okay, I'm going to keep going on this, guys. The expansion of the tech tree is a big and important step for the game. They're going to do this measuredly. They're going to be careful as they go this way. They're going to basically put out a few, see how it goes. We're going to learn how this thing goes together. Odysseus, not Odysseus, says, is ranked now the public test server? Kinda, I mean, they're going to come out on PTS first. We'll play them there, and then we'll see how they go from there, right? And then they'll bring them into ranked, and we'll try them there. This is a huge change to World of Warships. It's kind of crazy, and I don't know that they should really... I don't know. I don't know what I think of this. I think I'm still getting used to it. I'm kind of interested in the idea of the Zorky with an autoloader. So there's a part of me that's geeked about this. There's another part of me that's like, man, couldn't this just be another tier 10? Couldn't you just like tone them down a bit and make it another branch and do a tier 10? Because I'm a human, and as all humans are, I'm afraid of change. Okay, last topic on this one, and then we just have a couple of other things to discuss. Supership Economics. One of the most important aspects of adding superships to the game is their combat economics, the income per battle, and their maintenance costs. Over the years of development of the game, the economics have significantly accelerated, due to various bonuses and economic signals, and credit earning has become even easier on the most expensive tier to maintain, tier 10s. This has had a significant effect on their popularity. This is totally true. Anybody here who's been playing the game for a long time remembers when you used to log in to tier 10s, if you didn't have a premium camo, and sometimes even if you did, you would lose money on tier 10 ships. Imagine trying to run a tier 10 ship as a free-to-play player with no premium camo, right? You would never make money on tier 10, so you'd have to play your lower tiers in order to make money to play your upper tiers. And that was kind of an intentional thing, but players kind of hated it. And I think if, people with premium time and with permanent camos, which reduced the cost, and then signals made that possible. And now there's just a lot of great ways to make money. And so tier 10 became a lot more affordable to run. Everyone likes this. Like literally everyone, except for probably some accountants in St. Petersburg. But all of the players really like the idea that we don't get ripped off to play our tier 10s. So it's kind of like, I'm like, okay, what are you guys getting at? So they continue. In the case of superships, we've decided to change this approach, both to ensure that superships don't become too popular in matchmaking, and to ensure that tier 10 ships have an economic advantage over them. Therefore, superships will have a high maintenance cost about twice as high as that as tier N. I don't like this at all, but we'll wait and see, right? However, combat economics depend on many factors, and that requires a lot of data. So at the moment, we haven't made any final decisions on this. In this regard, the upcoming ranked season, superships will, now get this, neither consume nor earn credits. I actually said that backwards. Neither earn nor consume credits. So get a load of this. You're going to load in a supership in ranked, and you will make no credits for that game. Now, that sounds like a neutral thing, but it's not. It means you're going to lose the money you would have made if you'd played a normal ship in ranked, which is kind of crazy. You'll get to play a crazy new boat. Okay, whatever. But I think that's super crazy. So that's a kind of a thing to say there. Hang on, I got a couple of comments I want to address real quickly. Scotta says, if it wasn't steel, it was paper. But if you want to claim it wasn't paper because we drafted it and Ouija didn't, that's fine. Yeah, I think we still have to call it a paper ship, referring back to the Montana. I think we still have to call it a paper ship, but at least it wasn't invented by, Wargaming, right? Like, so there is a distinction there, but I think I'd still think of it as a paper ship. But it sounds like, like Captain Char and I were chatting about that earlier, and he's on board, or he or she is on board with that. Admiral says, I think it's hilarious because ranked is PTS now. Yeah, agreed, man. It's totally absurd. So superships are going to be super expensive to run. It's going to be a thing that probably costs you money, or you're going to have a good game and it won't cost you money, but you won't earn a ton probably. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm very curious what the deal is with permanent camos. I'm assuming those are going to cost doubloons just like they do now. If a tier 10 has a permanent camo that costs something like 5,000 dubs, I can expect these to cost more, 6,000, 8,000. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that's going to go. Captain Char, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Hopefully you'll come and hang out with us again. We got a really great crew here. We love talking boats. So that is what's happening. Super ships, super battleships, super cruisers, and a super destroyer. 2 super destroyers are coming to the game. They're going to be real parts of the tech tree. We're going to deal with this change as part of what World of Warships is going forward. And it all starts in 10.10. So if 10.9 is like tomorrow or whatever, and that's the assumption I'm going on right now, that's my latest intel. This is happening before the new year, like soon. So I really want to know if you guys will get at me on Twitter, in my Discord, or even just in chat right now. Are you interested in this? Are you interested in these ships? Like, is it Yamagiri for you? Is it Zorky, Annapolis, Conde? Or do you want to go back and play Satsuma again, or Hannover? Like, what are you most excited about, or what are you most worried about? Let's keep things civil. I think this is, again, as always, we want to talk about this place. It is a place for discourse and discussion. Send your hate mail to Wargaming. I don't need your hate mail here at me or at, the other people in chat. Let's keep it classy. But I'm really curious. At this point, I'm just kind of like floored by this, and I think it's wacky, but I'm not totally like, I don't know. I'm not totally like freaked out by it at this point. I don't know when Tulsa comes out. All we know is it's a coal boat, is what Scott says, and that's all I know as well. So I'm kind of excited about Tulsa, actually. The other piece of news, there's 2 more pieces. Check this out. I hit 200 subscribers today on YouTube. If you guys don't follow me on YouTube, maybe YouTube's not your kind of video content. I get it. But if you want to, swing on over to the old YouTube channel, hit the follow or the subscribe, I guess, button over there. Remember, subscriptions on YouTube are free. It's not like Twitch here. We would love to have you guys hang out with us over on the YouTubes. 200 subscribers was a big thing. Sir Andrew, one of our viewers and Discord members, was my 200th follow. So thank you, Sir Andrew, for being number 200. As we know, the specific number of followers you have on YouTube really doesn't matter. It's really about views, but this is still a fun milestone. Big GD, I did not watch the video yet. I need to watch it. I was too busy today, and then I decided to play tanks instead of watching more YouTube content. But I am interested in that stuff, so pretty stoked about what's going on. Big GD says, yeah, I kind of felt like this was coming with the super battleships. The super battleships and grand battles gave us a couple of things. It was a test bed for them to figure out how to fix secondaries, which we now have in the game already. And then now, of course, they also decided to bring in those super ships, which is wild. It's totally wild. And then the last piece of news I want to talk about real quick, and then we will get back to other business. The last piece of news is this. Battleship Preussen, or Preussen. Preussen is the German word for what we in the anglicized world refer to as Prussia. So if you want to call this Prussia, that's fine. If you watch my latest YouTube video, I play an audio clip of somebody pronouncing it correctly. It's Preussen or something similar to that. I'm going to go Preussen is how I'm going to do it. I don't call the Prince Eugen the Eugen or the Eugen. I call it the Eugen. I think I can handle calling this the Preussen. It's not too tricky. It's still a bad pronunciation of a German word, but roll with me. I made a YouTube video about this, but what's happening in the news there is that the Kurfürst is being removed as the tier 10 tech tree for World of Warships for the German line, and we are going to put that in the armory as a coal boat, just like they did with Moskva back in 2020. And then they're going to replace it with this Preussen. Preussen is very, very similar to Kurfürst, but instead of 406 or 420 millimeter guns, it is armed with 457 millimeter guns. It goes down from 12 barrels to 8. And there are some AA changes as well. I go over this in excruciating detail in my latest YouTube video. If you guys would like to check that out, hit that YouTube link I just dropped in chat a second ago. I'll throw it in again if you missed it before. And you can find the video. It's my latest video. The other piece of news also, and we talked about this on our last stream, I'll throw out just briefly, is the change to I don't have it here. Here we go. The Delny is coming in to replace the Khabarovsk, and I've got a video all about this where we go on a stat-by-stat comparison of those two ships as well. So I won't spoil those videos for you. I'd love to have you guys go watch those on YouTube. If you like them, hit them with a thumbs up, leave a comment, engage with the conversation that's going there. I've gotten a lot of comments on the Delny video. I've only gotten like one comment on the Preussen video, but I'm very excited about both of these ships coming in. The Preussen is a little bit less of an extreme change than Delny is, but I think they're both interesting and definitely ones to watch. All right, guys, that is the end of our news segment. I need an end of news segment video to play where it's like the opposite of the news. But I don't have one. So maybe we'll come up with that someday. For now, I'm just going to hit this. We're going to go back to port and get back to playing World of Warships. I hope you guys enjoyed the news segment. It's one of those things that we don't do very often, but man, there's been so much news in this last like 7 days of World of Warship time that I couldn't possibly not do it.